As we continue with our Pride-tastic spirit, today we have a super sexy show for you all.
That's right, but before we get to the sexy, we kind of have to talk about the serious, because there's a ban on blood from the FDA on gay people continuing to donate the blood, especially when it's most needed right now to fight the coronavirus. We're going to talk about it.
And it's fashion, wealth, and mischief on the Q agenda, because today, Rafael De La Fuente from Dynasty on the CW stops by to chat with us.
And if that is not enough, from Entertainment Tonight to being a member of RuPaul's Drag Race pit crew, Jason Carter stops by to tell us all about his journey. All that and more right here on
The Q Agenda.
After recovering from the coronavirus, many members of the LGBTQ community wanted to see if there was something they could do to help people who were infected. Some signed up for programs where you could donate plasma, which is rich in antibodies, to those still battling the virus, only to learn that they were turned down. Are these practices antiquated?
You know, an HIV test can be done on blood in minutes, and there's no reason why people, survivors from the virus who have the plasma, who are gay men, can't donate their blood. They're volunteering to find a cure, and we are being turned down. How much of decision-making does it take to change these practices? To me, it's ridiculous. It's a conversation that I'm tired of having.
I agree. I do think that these are definitely antiquated practices, just because, I mean, like you were saying, like, you can honestly get results in minutes. And I'm wondering if there's even like a way of like maybe like storing it, testing it, something, because I think that it's more important to kind of move forward instead of basing our medical practices on stereotypes. That's like so ridiculous to me.
Yeah, so the blood ban came about right in 1983. We're talking about the height of the AIDS crisis, talking about the most misunderstanding, hysteria around what AIDS was, who could get AIDS, and that's when the blood lifetime ban came into play. And of course, over the years, it's lessened down to about a year, and more recently, 3 months. But to that effect, it's a very bigoted policy, because it only applies to people who admit to having slept with men. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who undercover sleep with guys on the side that are giving blood. And there are a lot of people who take multiple partners that are women that are having sex with men and who are engaged in dangerous sexual practices, not any more dangerous than a monogamous gay man who is not a danger at all, scientifically speaking. And I've heard that the plasma, the test takes about 10 days to clear 5 different diseases, including HIV. And so theoretically, if there is a ban, if there has to be a ban, then it should be on anyone who has had sex with men in the last 10 days. And then we can move forward, because you're right, they do test the blood.
Even men, but it's like, but women turn HIV positive as well. I mean, this is a disease that affects everybody. And it's nearly almost 30 years since the HIV epidemic. I think it's about time that we apply new rules to a new pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you know, stigmas and stereotypes. You know, I think about myself as a trans person, and the reality is that I at one point did live my life as a gay male, because that's what I thought I was before I knew what trans was. So for me as a trans person to now be able to walk in and donate blood without any problem, just because I now identify as trans, but if I would identify as male still, you wouldn't, because I sleep with men. Like, it just does not make sense at all.
That is so powerful, Juliana, because that is living proof that is prejudice on both sides of this, because that is so crazy. Like, what do they say now to that? I mean, when it's, the science is the science. Well, how does it make you guys feel? I always wonder, like, I remember after the Orlando shootings, I felt very defeated and sad that someone would like harm somebody just because of something I cannot control, or I did not choose. What are the feelings that come up for you all as gay men, just knowing that you're not allowed to donate blood? How do you feel?
It's heartbreaking to me. It's really heartbreaking, because you really want to help, you know, and that foundation of community that we've built within us is, when are we going to break those barriers? When are we going to move forward and just realize that we're all humans? This is just, to me, so old and tired. It's about time that a change happens. And I'm glad we have this platform to talk about these subjects, but what else can we do to push this forward?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that we have the technology to test the blood. We have all of these things moving forward. I think that we should definitely just get rid of all these rules, because it's kind of ironic how it's just a community wanting to help everyone, even people that might not even agree with who you are, just based off of the greater good, you know?
What it comes down to is believing the science, right?
Yeah.
Believe the science. And we, believe it or not, right now in our world, it's hard to just believe the science, but can we believe the science for sure?
Yeah.
So what a great topic. Unfortunately, this is all the time that we have today for that. But when we come back, we will be chatting with Rafael De La Fuente from Dynasty, and you don't want to miss it.
We first met him on Empire as Jamal's love interest Michael, later on as Ricardo on When We Rise, and recently he wrapped his third season of Dynasty as the always fun and controversial character of Sam Jones. He stopped by The Agenda to chat about his life, career, and being a proud member of our community. We want to welcome to The Agenda, Rafael De La Fuente.
Wow, we are so excited to have Rafael De La Fuente today with us on the Q Agenda. Rafael, how are you doing?
Hi, Enrique. I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good, good, good. How are you dealing with the insanity and the craziness that we're going through in this new normal?
Well, let me tell you something. It hasn't been easy. It's been very challenging. You know, I've had ups and downs, just like everyone else. You know, taking it a day at a time, I guess, you know, just trying to stay present and, you know, trying to do things like working out and keeping my mind busy. And, you know, I've watched a lot of TV and cooked a lot, and I've meditated, which I haven't in like 3 days. I really need to meditate today. But yeah, you know, just, you know, taking it moment by moment.
Well, you're coming out of a fantastic season of Dynasty. It was so much fun to watch your work during the whole season. You and I had the opportunity to speak recently, and I am just so overwhelmed with joy on the leading man character that Sam has become. How are you feeling the direction the character is going?
Oh my God, I'm really, really happy because throughout season 2, that's kind of what I was missing. I've always loved my character in the show, and I feel like I've really enjoyed playing Sam, which I think has shown, you know, and that's the reason why people have connected to the character, because I think that whenever an artist enjoys what they're doing, that's when you know, people connect to their work. But I feel like Sam's story in season 2 was kind of still very supporting in a way. I mean, you know, I'm part of the, you know, main cast from the beginning, but it's always been, you know, more of a supporting character in a way, more of a character that, you know, is there to like support, you know, the Steven storyline and the rest of the Carringtons. But I feel like in season 3, they really gave me a chance to explore the character and, you know, especially the LGBT character of the show in a more leading man, as you said, light. And, you know, that's what we want. That's all we want. We want to show that we can do that, and that we can be the comedic relief, but we can also be the hero. And I am so grateful with our showrunner and writers and studio and network for thinking that I can do that. It was a big pleasure, and also just on a personal note, kind of a bucket list thing, because you know, as a gay actor in Hollywood, you hear all these things. You know what I mean? You hear all these, you know, facts that people talk about. You know, a gay man, you know, an openly gay actor can't be a leading man, and blah, and you sort of kind of believe it. But I feel like I've always been a little bit of a rebel, and I you know, wanted to defy that, and it's felt really good.
How does a boy from Venezuela ends up being on the forefront all of a sudden in Hollywood, on leading characters like that, as you've done on Empire, you've done on shows with Ryan Murphy, now on Dynasty. How do you manage to position yourself that way? Has it been a lot of work?
It took, courage, because, you never know how it's going to, play out. But I have been very lucky to work and to be a gay actor playing gay roles, because like I've said before, I am so lucky to play an LGBT character. I think that our community is beautiful and deserves to be represented, and it's so varied, and I, it's the honor of my life to do that. It has taken a lot of work and a lot of sacrifices and a lot of time and a lot of tears, and it has been hard, but I cannot complain, because I have been very, very lucky, and people have been very embracing of who I am and of my work, and I am ready for more.
When we come back, more with Rafael De La Fuente.
Something that we love is to watch what you're wearing on Dynasty.
Yeah. And I love wearing, trust me.
And you're working, your role, Sam, used to be Sammy. It was played by Heather Locklear.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel that to be like a responsibility? And Dynasty was known for the glamour and the Joan Collins outfits and everything. So you're doing a modern version. Do you feel any responsibility in that matter, representing the LGBTQ proudly and openly?
Well, yes, I do feel a responsibility to be the best, the best Rafael that I can be, and to make my work better every time, because I do want to represent my community, because my community deserves to be represented in the best, most righteous way. Because I'm so proud of who we are and how resilient we are. Now, as far as Dynasty and the original, not really, because even though I think they all did a phenomenal job and they were a huge global success, I feel like what we have created in our show stands on its own, and it's completely different, which to me was the only way of doing it, really, because the original Dynasty is the original Dynasty, and it really impacted pop culture, you know what I mean? So if we were going to do a reboot, it just had to be a completely new reimagining of it. And specifically regarding the character of Sammy Joe, I felt no pressure, because first of all, I'm a guy, you know what I mean? So I'm a guy, I'm Latino, I'm an immigrant, I'm gay. Like, it's a completely different situation. So I never felt that I would ever be compared with Heather, which she's a superstar. She did a phenomenal job and was the most likable, beautiful, charming, conniving little biatch in the show that we all love, you know what I mean? Right. But, luckily being so different from her, being such a departure, I never felt like I had any pressure to,
walk on those shoes.
No kind of pressures.
I see also that you have also been very active in social media in spreading your message. Mm-hmm. I just particularly saw, I believe, some cartoons recently about some kids and about parents talking to their children. Also about a little bit of what is the concept of toxic masculinity. Sorry,
mm-hmm.
Let's speak again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that through social media is the best way to reach out your audiences? You have nearly almost 1 million followers on Instagram as is, and I know the show's an international success. So is that the best way to take your message out there?
I think art is the best way. I think that TV shows and movies are the best way. I think that appealing to people's emotions and empathy is the best way, and storytelling. Now, social media is a great platform to do it, and I have a very engaged audience. So I use that as well. Do I think it's the best way? I'm not sure that it's the best way. I think art impacts people in the most effective and deepest of ways. But social media is a good tool for me. Yeah.
Where do you think young people that watch you and that see you as a role model should find their sense of pride?
In themselves. We are innately worthy. We are innately enough and innately beautiful, regardless of where you're at in your life. And I think that you should find it within you, regardless of where you're at and regardless of where your goals are or what you've done, what mistakes you've done. You were born with the right to feel proud of being here. And you are worthy and you are beautiful. So just look inside of yourself and really hold on to that.
What a great conversation. Thank you, Rafael. And when we come back, we will be chatting with Jason Carter, and you don't want to miss it.
Whether it's breaking the news, sit-down interviews, or on the red carpet with Entertainment Tonight, Jason has been in the middle of all the action in Hollywood. And if that isn't enough, you can also catch him as a sexy member of RuPaul's Drag Race pit crew. He sat down to chat with Liana. Let's take a look.
Glad to be here. Good to see you, Liana. How are you doing?
Thank you. I appreciate being affirmed by you right at the top. Like, you're here. We're here. Your turn. You're here. Thank you so much for being here. We are so excited to have you. Jason, you just got an exciting text message that we could potentially break the news first when this airs. What did you just get?
Okay, so let me go and just find the actual sourcing, because we're journalists here.
Okay.
Let's see. Hold on one second. Okay, so
we should tell people this is about RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah. So Entertainment Weekly just now released that the finalists of season 12, of course, because we're in quarantine and COVID-19, no one's doing jack, will virtually lip sync for the crown for the season finale of Drag Race season 12. This has never been done before, of course, because we are in unprecedented times. And normally the Drag Race finale is a live event with hundreds and hundreds of people in attendance. It's amazing, it's spectacular, but because of where we're at with this pandemic, we can't do that, of course, because we want to make sure people are safe. So Entertainment Weekly breaking the news. That's pretty cool, though. I can't wait to see it. You know.
But you're not just a pretty face, though. You also contribute to the Young Turks, which is a political-based progressive platform, which I am very jealous of, that you get to do that, because how fun is that? So tell me about that.
Well, I mean, thank you for noticing I do more than just hand out goodies on a reality TV show. But yes, I am a host and journalist, and I came to the Young Turks, the largest online YouTube news show in the world. Billions of views, millions of subscribers, progressive media, liberal media, they're in the thick of it, right? I came on back in the summer of 2016. And it's a really interesting story because I was at home doing webisodes for YouTube, whatever, trying to be my own brand. And I had tested for some shows in the past, and the host of a show that used to be on the Young Turks called Pop Trigger was Samantha Shocker, awesome person, changed my life professionally. Wow. And YouTube recommended the show she hosted, and I tweeted her and said, hey, I'm a fan. Can I come and be in the audience of your show? She said, Jason, we don't have an audience. Why don't you just come and be on the show?
Wow.
And I said, okay, great. So production got in contact with me and they interviewed me. It was the next day. And then from there on, they just kept having me back. You get to know people. Mm-hmm. And then one thing led to another. And then in the fall of 2017, I was in New York for some kind of meeting. And the EP of the main show of TYT, the flagship news show, was like, hey, are you available to do hour 2 of the flagship show? I was in New York. It was for my birthday that year. And so I hopped on a plane and stood standby and came back and did the show, and the rest is history.
Wow. And so tell our viewers a little bit about some of the topics that you cover, or what that means to you as a presence on their network.
Well, they're very aware of the importance of inclusion of marginalized groups of people, covering marginalized stories, making sure that there is representation, inclusivity. So, it being so big and it having such a presence and in the zeitgeist, you have a lot of trolls, you have a lot of people who don't agree because it's politics. And right now we are in a very volcanic political climate, especially when it comes to issues that face our community, right, Liana? So when I'm there, it's nice to be able to be a voice that I don't speak for the whole LGBTQ plus community, nor do I speak for all Black people, but my presence there resonates with somebody. Someone that's watching says, hey, I'm glad to see Jason there. I'm glad to see Jason, you know, giving his opinion, a well-educated opinion on what they're talking about, not being afraid to be honest. And it's great. And Young Turks, they've been so good to me. It's what the work they do is just so invaluable, and it's just such an honor to be a part of that.
Is there any hope in the world if we literally can politicize everything, you know, in terms of left and right instead of in terms of right and wrong, you know, where we wish we could be? But so you obviously have range, which is awesome to see. You came on talking about wearing a thong, and we've ended talking about very scholarly issues about racism and structural racism in the world. So where do you feel more comfortable? What's your dream? Where would you like to be in the next, or do you know, in the next 5 years?
You know, that's one of those questions that, you know, you're expected to be asked, but it's a very hard question to answer, right? Because people aren't definitive. You know, back in the day, it's like, you want to have one definitive moment that you've arrived. I don't know, man.
That's show business, and people don't know that about show business.
Right.
You're like, I kind of want to do a little bit of everything. I mean, why not?
Exactly.
You know?
And you know, I think when I'm asked that question, I think the next 5 years, I want to have had longevity. And continue to do what I love, which is talking to people like you and talking to audiences. And I mean, I love being a journalist. I love being a host. I love connecting with people. And I think if I have those opportunities to keep doing that, more great experiences are going to come with that.
Well, Jason, thank you so much. I hope to see you not this summer because everything is canceled, but next summer. Hopefully I'll see you around.
For sure.
Thanks for coming on, Jason. Bye.
That was so much fun. Thank you, Jason, for stopping by to talk to us. And for more on him and us, don't forget to check out latv.com. We will see you soon.